All right, welcome to Kill the Clock. Today you've got Anhad, Ravneet, Sahand, and me, Keen. We're going to be discussing the conclusion of the round of 16 with the amazing USA performance against Belgium and the upcoming quarterfinals. So, Sahand, what were your thoughts on that USA performance against Belgium?
Um, of course, we're all proud of the team, the way they performed. I mean, to say that we deserve to win it with the Wondolowski miss at the end, I think it's a little far-fetched just because Belgium had 37 shots and 26 on target. But in general, I just think that we played pretty well and it looks good for the future. And Tim Howard, obviously, being Tim Howard, I mean, earned the respect of everyone who's watching the game, and even Vincent Company giving him props on Twitter. I think that was nice to see.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Ravneet?
I think this was one of the best games I've ever seen Tim Howard play, yeah,
Oh
even
yeah.
at Everton. And major props to him. I think overall the U.S. played pretty well, but Jurgen was saying after the Germany game that the U.S. was laying back too much, and I think we ended up doing that in this game too, and we weren't creating enough chances until the last 15 minutes. But after that, the last 15 minutes was probably one of the best U.S. Parts of the World Cup I've ever seen so far, at least.
Yeah, that was pretty intense. Anhad, what are your thoughts? I know you're probably itching to get in here.
Yeah, definitely proud of Team US. I think we had a really good tournament. You can go back and you can dissect each and every performance as to what could and could not have happened. But for me, the real superstar that has emerged from this is Klinsmann. When he dropped Donovan, everybody was on his case, why he did it, and why he shouldn't have done it, etc., etc., etc. But a lot of tactical moves that he made throughout the tournament were very good. I know we had problems in figuring out who the backup for Altidore was going to be. Green could have been brought earlier, etc., etc., etc. But the whole direction of the team that Klinsmann has taken this team in, it's been very good. So definitely proud, and hopefully better things to come in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of the future, Julian Green was freaking amazing, wasn't he? He came on
Oh,
pretty late, scored a quality goal. Like there's no way to really dance around that. That was
Yeah.
completely unexpected. I was actually I was in the office with my coworkers, and there was like a 5 second delay in the two laptops we were watching it on, and we just hear screaming in the other room, and we're like, oh God, Belgium, and then we see this fantastic goal. Yeah, that was really great. I for one was somebody who was criticizing Julian Green's inclusion. I thought Landon Donovan could have used up or taken that spot instead, but I was forced to definitely shut my mouth because that was a quality goal. That's lightning in a bottle if I've ever seen it. What do you have to say, Ravneet?
I was just gonna say it was an amazing pass by Bradley. Also,
Oh
like
yeah.
Owen was making a run, but Bradley's pass was spot on. Green's like he didn't get probably the same like the hit he was looking for, but it was enough for the goal. But it makes you want to think about of why Green didn't get more time, and also Yedlin. Yedlin played really well too, and you wonder why he didn't get more time. And if an injury doesn't occur for the U.S., you wonder if he was going to play much at all that game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Sahand?
Yeah, Michael Bradley, that was a brilliant chipped through ball. And Green didn't get all the ball on the finish, but he didn't need to. Bottom line is the ball went to the back of the net. I wanted to
Absolutely.
ask you guys what you thought about Michael Bradley throughout the tournament, because to me, coming into the tournament, I thought he was going to be the guy for us. He wasn't bad, but he looked somewhat average at times.
Here's the thing. Like you're taking a guy who's used to playing in deeper midfield and kind of just dropping him at the very top, the very top of things, and asking him to play through balls that you would expect from like a David Silva or something like that. It's not an easy transition to make, and I think that he did quite well. Some will say that he was average, but if you were actually watching the game, he was the one who was making those 60-yard sprints back to cover when we were being counterattacked by Belgium and everybody else was tired. He was playing like a leader, and I don't think you could ask for any more from who I believe was our best player in that squad. Another thing that I want to get on is Julian's Green run, his run actually to in the lead up to that goal. I did not, or I don't remember seeing any other American player making that type of run It was a really aggressive, direct run into the channels. Bradley saw it. I feel that if we had more players making those types of intelligent runs, because he completely lost his defenders, lost both of them. If we had more players making those kind of direct runs, maybe Altidore, I think we could have maybe gotten out. Because that's definitely Josie's game. I don't feel Clint Dempsey is a very direct runner in behind. He prefers to kind of drop deep and hold things up. What do you have to say, Sahand?
Yeah, in the game thread on Reddit, everyone once Julian Green scored, everyone was all like, "This is what happens when you run at the defender," because no one was doing it the whole game. Everyone seemed
Yeah.
just kind of scared and hesitant. So, yeah, I mean, he was 19 years old. He was looking to impress. So I thought it was really good to see him show that aggressiveness, and that goal's gonna do huge wonders for his confidence. Even though we didn't
Oh
win the
yeah,
game, it's gonna do a lot.
absolutely. Yeah, and I just want to say that strike reminds me exactly of Neymar's Confederation Cup strike from last year. You remember when Fred chested down for him? It wasn't a clean strike, but it was very good anyway, and it still was able to kind of just float its way into the top corner. What do you have to say on Hud?
Yeah, as I said, we could dissect each and every tactical move throughout this tournament that Klinsmann did. But one of the things that I want to point out is I saw very few long balls from the US compared to other countries. And there was a lot of short passing, and you do expect people to make good runs, have that good through ball or over the defenders when they're not expecting, a mid-range pass. So based on all that, I just feel that it's intelligent guys like Julian Green who can really, really elevate the level and performance of US in the future. So in each and every position, it'll be interesting to see how many high IQ players we have.
Yeah, I definitely want to say the primary deficit. I think it was Grant Wall who was saying something like this on Twitter today. He said the deficit of the United States wasn't a mental one; it was a technical one, and I feel that that's probably where the U.S. can hope to make the biggest steps in the future, in the amount of technical players that we're going to bring into the team. And if you're looking at younger prospects like Julian Green, guys like that, others who actually haven't even committed to the U.S. Cough, cough. You guys know what I'm talking about. We can actually take some pretty big steps in the future. So yeah, let's move on to the quarterfinals. We can probably jump back to the U.S. at the very end if anybody else has anything to say. But the first matchup is actually going to be a really big one: France versus Germany. What do you think, Sahand?
Um, I think France is coming into this a little more confident than the German squad. I think Germany looked pretty shaky. I think they said Manuel Neuer came out like or more times to save them when the ball kept getting behind Mertesacker and Boateng. My main question with Germany is why Jurgi Löw continues to play Philipp Lahm in the holding midfield role. I think when you've got Sami Khedira on the bench, why not start him along with Kroos and Schweinsteiger and then play Lahm at his natural fullback position? I think once they made that change, it really opened up things for Germany, and they looked a lot better. And I still question Germany's decision to try and shove all their good players into the same lineup. I think to have a striker in there would definitely benefit the team. I know Klose is a little bit old, but I think the decision to bring in Andre Schürrle for Mario Götze was a good one. And
Yeah.
with France, I think in this game you go with Antoine Griezmann instead of the two-striker thing with Giroud and Benzema, just because you want to use if Germany decides to go with the whole four center backs in their back line, you want to use the pace to try and attack those guys off the counter.
Yeah, definitely. Ravni, what do you have to say, man?
I was just gonna say, Manuel Neuer was amazing against Algeria. I think
Yeah.
he came out so many times, and he was basically Algeria for part of that game actually outplayed the German squad. And if it wasn't for Neuer, I think they would have scored in the first 90 minutes. But I've been a little bit disappointed in the German team. I expected them to do better. I agree with Sahand. I think France is coming into this game more confident. They've had a couple blowout games in the knockouts, in the group stage, and the German squad has kind of just been limping in.
Yeah, definitely. Anand, what do you have to say?
I do agree with what both of you guys are saying, but to counter what you're saying about Germany, I still think that they have this notch that they can go up to, right? So if you're talking about this next matchup, France and Germany, I agree France are coming in with a little bit more confidence, but I think that Germans have definitely not played to their potential. So if I was to predict, I would still put my money on Germany.
Yeah, I probably would as well. Even though France have beaten a good chunk of teams, they've played really well throughout the tournament. I don't think they've been tested. I'm still maintaining what I was saying last time about how the win against Switzerland really wasn't that convincing for me. They jumped out to an early 2-goal lead that'll demoralize any team, even a world class team. And the last game against Nigeria, everything was tied up at 0-0 until Onatsi received a pretty ugly challenge from Blaise Matuidi. And I honestly think, not as a biased Nigerian, but as a fan of the game, that Matuidi should have been sent off for that tackle. Onatsi was substituted out of the game. Uh, a replacement came in, wasn't as good, and I should say Nazi was having a great game. Griezmann came in, and the combination, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a combination between the two. Maybe it was the substitution. Maybe it was the injury. Uh, France pretty much demolished Nigeria afterwards, and I'm not sure that this French team are up to the challenge of a team that can hold the ball as well as Germany. I still don't feel that they've been properly tested. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I'll put my money on Germany now, but Germany are really going to have to step things up. And I agree with what you were saying, Sahand. The problem with, or the issue with Lam playing central when they still lack natural fullbacks is just baffling. I really don't understand
Yeah.
why Khedira needs to spend more time on the bench. Maybe he's not match fit, but I don't understand it.
Germany in general is just their build-up play is so slow. It looks like a lot of Pep Guardiola's tactics and philosophy at Bayern Munich have kind of
Yeah, definitely.
worked its way into this kind of team, and they really need to speed things up because I think they're gonna get killed on the counter if they don't
Yeah,
start playing a little quicker.
especially if Griezmann's on the pitch.
Yeah.
If Giroud starts, I'll be pretty surprised because even though I'm a pretty big fan of the guy, he had a terrible game last time out. Okay, well, let's move on to Colombia and Brazil. What do you think about that, Anhad?
This is gonna be one of the best games in the next round. Um,
Yeah,
I am
potential's
gonna go
definitely
for the upset, and it's not because I'm enchanted by James Rodriguez. I just think that Brazil do not have that offensive firepower that a true champion of this tournament should have. Do I think Colombia have that? Uh, Maybe not, but I do believe that they have more attacking options and they have better offensive setup of the team.
Yeah, definitely. My problem with the Brazil Colombia match is the fact that Brazil had a really tough time playing out against Chile. A really tough time, and I think that was actually one of the first teams, one of the first really aggressive, direct pressing teams that Brazil has come up against. And Colombia kind of played the same style. They look to win the ball high up and attack you basically with Rodriguez, Cuadrado, and guys like that. I do think that Colombia have it in them to upset Brazil. I haven't seen, or I didn't see in the last game that Brazil had the confidence, to basically play around or through that pressure, which is why it was kind of, I guess, an ugly match. But for Brazil to win this game, I think Neymar's just gonna have to drag them out of it. Like that's kind of the way I see this one going. And if he doesn't perform, if their deeper midfielders don't perform, I definitely think Colombia can snatch what would be a pretty massive upset. What do you have to say about that, Ravneet?
Yeah, I've more of a question than anything. Coming into the tournament, it seemed like um, Brazil were the favorites, and they struggled against Chile in the first round of 16, and now if even if they make it past Colombia, I don't know if it seems to me like I don't they won't make it past France or Germany. I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on that because it just seems like they're not favorites anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, with Brazil, Look, I know they haven't looked. I don't think they've looked good in any of the games they've played. They've looked pretty subpar. But I just got this. Yeah, I'm gonna throw out the non-analytical analysis with no basis. I just got this gut feeling. This team, they're just gonna find the way to win. They found the way to win versus Chile. I think they're gonna find a way to beat Colombia. I think that penalty shootout win gives them the mental boost that they needed. I think they're going to play better versus Colombia. On paper, I think Colombia matches up well because I think they're even a better version of Chile. And the way James Rodriguez is playing makes them infinitely more dangerous. But yeah, I can see why Brazil would struggle versus France or Germany. I think at this point, with the way they struggle with Chile, they're taking it one matchup at a time. I just think Neymar's going to have a big game. And I think, as we've seen in this tournament, Brazil goes as Neymar goes. And as Anhad said, he's going to have to carry this team. And I think he will. I think Brazil's going to pull out the win.
So my question here, it's a two-part question, and I think Rivni touched on that. Let's just assume Brazil do win this next game. Do they have it enough to go past France or Germany? Okay, my intuitive answer for that is no. And I would want you guys to add on to that. But I want to ask another question too. Do you think Hulk is a problem here in the setup of this team, or is he fine?
I'm gonna just go out on a limb. Not on a limb, actually. I don't like Hulk. I don't like Hulk, but I think he's necessary for this system. So that's the way I see it.
I think Hulk needs to play the 9 instead of Fred or Joe. Why not try Hulk at the 9 and then play Willian at right wing? Because Hulk looked pretty good in Chile in the second half and in overtime, and Fred and Joe just look so average. I think I don't like Hulk, but the way this team's playing, he's actually recently been one of their better players. He is necessary at this point. I don't think they can afford to take him out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't even know if Hulk is capable of playing up front. If he is, I mean, it's probably something Scolari has thought about, but it's something he clearly hasn't done. I mean, I for one would definitely still play Fred up front, maybe even Joe. I'm really not a fan of Joe.
Not at all. Looked bad.
Yeah, I don't think he's a particularly great finisher, and I don't think his hold-up play is anywhere near as good as Fred's. I feel Hulk is kind of there to play almost as a hard-working second striker who floats around and basically facilitates other people with his movement, whereas Fred facilitates other players with his hold-up play. But yeah, back to Rob Neat's question. I'm sorry. I think Brazil is better equipped to play France or Germany than Colombia or Costa Rica, like any of those kind of teams, because Germany and France both look to play the ball out, their possession sides more or less, whereas Brazil seems to struggle with teams that play with a lot of energy and try and attack the ball when they don't have it, basically. So I'm if Brazil get past Colombia, I wouldn't go so far to say to make them favorites, because I'm pretty sure they'd have to deal with the Netherlands eventually, and I don't know if they can beat them. But France and Germany, I'm still not impressed by either of those sides, and Brazil seem to be like a team that's very capable of beating either of them, even now. So, any thoughts
at this point, there's no real. I mean, we've seen this tournament. There's no strong favorite. I really look at these 8 teams. I think 6 of them could become champions. The only 2 I'm discounting is Belgium and Costa Rica, for reasons of experience. But I really feel like the other 6 teams can definitely win this tournament. So it's at this point, it's a one game at a time type of mentality for each of the teams.
Belgium laughs at you, Sahand.
They have the roster. I just don't think they have.
Yeah, the team quality isn't there, and neither is the experience. Yeah, the next matchup is actually going to be Argentina and Belgium. Thoughts on that?
I actually am interested in this game. I really rated Belgium really highly just before the tournament started, and I had them going all the way to the I think semifinals actually. But I've been disappointed in the way they've been playing. They didn't really play that well in the group stage, and they struggled against the U.S. But they have a talented roster, and Hazard was really good for them. I think when Lukaku came on, he changed the game against the U.S. and
yeah, definitely.
he created that. I don't know if they counted it as an assist, but it was almost an assist, and he had that other goal. So I think they should actually start Lukaku in the next game, and
Yeah.
maybe gives Belgium a chance, but I think they're underdogs in this game.
Yeah. What do you have to say on HUD?
Um, Going into the tournament, for me, my two favorite teams was Germany and Argentina. And the more I'm looking at the fixtures and the performances and everything, I'm I'm inclined to say that that could be potentially our final. Now, where does Argentina fit in, this prediction of mine? Um, I expected Argentina to be facing Spain as a semifinalist. That's not going to happen. And if I could get ahead of myself and assume Argentina is going to beat Belgium, which I actually think they will, they're probably going to face the Netherlands. And I think that match, it's going to be a very close match. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but Argentina, in a way, sort of had an easier path towards the finals. So, have they played very well? I don't think so. Do they have top two player on this planet? Some might say the best player on the planet. Yes, they do. Do they have hardworking guys who can win balls, throw in quality cross once in a while? Yes, they do. Um, it comes down to individual talent in this team, and over a course of 90 or 120 minutes, they do have the players who can pull through results. And that's why I feel that, at least for the Belgium game, you have to take them as the favorites.
Yeah. I think I definitely think Argentina have the quality to see Belgium off, because Belgium to me are a team of individual quality, whereas Argentina arguably are a team of individual quality, but the sum of Argentina's individual quality is probably greater than that of Belgium's. Not to mention, Belgium have really not been tested by anybody. Argentina, they've definitely been tested by some teams. I mean, even the Iran match you could consider a serious test, and they basically got through on the magic of Messi, and he's been consistently dragging them through games, much in the way I feel Neymar has dragged Brazil through games, although Messi has done so with much, much, much more, I guess, panache would be the word. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think Argentina are going to get through this one. I don't see Belgium having the quality to put them away. What do you have to say, Sahand?
Yeah, we still haven't seen the Messi who dominates most of the game, but his brilliance has shown up when it counts, and it's literally saved them in all four of their games so far.
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be a home field advantage type of game. I think Argentina being in South America has an advantage. Both teams are obviously exhausted. I feel like Belgium just going to be a little more mentally exhausted after 37 shots on goal and having to deal with Tim Howard.
Yeah.
I thought Divock Origi played well as striker. I think Lukaku also had the benefit of coming on and facing a bunch of players who were tired after 90 minutes. But getting we'll call it an assist, and then the second goal, I think Lukaku probably did regain the starting role. Belgium, on paper, has what it takes to beat Argentina. We've seen Bosnia, Iran, Nigeria, Switzerland. All of these teams give Argentina a lot of problems. Belgium's more talented than all those teams by far, at least in my opinion. So they definitely have what it takes to win this game. I got to go with Argentina. Just the tournament being in South America and Brazil. Messi, he's done it 4 times. He's gonna have another moment of magic, and I don't think they'll win comfortably, but they're gonna pull it out. In my opinion, I think Messi, Di Maria will be difference makers in this one.
Yeah, speaking of difference makers, we've got the Netherlands and Costa Rica in the next one. Arjen Robben has definitely been a difference maker for the Netherlands in this tournament. I think that the Netherlands will actually do, exactly what they're expected to do and beat Costa Rica. As much as I love them for making it this far and really fighting it out with Greece. Anhad, what do you have to say about this match?
Netherlands, they're an interesting team for me in this tournament because they're holding the limelight that Spain should have been holding right now if you want to go with all your pre-tournament predictions.
Yeah.
The one thing that I want to say about Netherlands is like let's analyze their match against Mexico. I think they had more shots on target than Mexico. I think it was 13-10, but Mexico had uh, sorry, Netherlands had 13 shots and Mexico had 10, but Netherlands had 4 on target versus Mexico's 5. I expected Netherlands to have a really good game, a convincing win over Mexico, but they did not, right? Did Mexico play well? Yes, they did. But a team that beat Spain so bad, why has it been struggling? Uh, and you know what I feel the problem with Netherlands is that their offense is a bit too predictable. Almost every attack that I see happens from the right side, and it's always Iron Robin having the ball with him, cutting in and attempting a shot. Some of those are good shots, some of them fly away. And Louis van Gaal, he had to, it came down to his tactics, or else Netherlands would have been out, you know, in that game. So, do I have that much confidence in Netherlands? It's shaky, but I do think, as Keanu pointed out, Robin is a difference maker. And if he has his A game, and if Memphis Depay, he could sort of make the attack a bit more unpredictable for the offense, they definitely have a really good chance to go to the finals.
Yeah. Ravni, do you have anything?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that in that Mexico game, the Netherlands really didn't win convincingly. They didn't really dominate possession. They only had 55, and the total shots, like you said, well, for the game they were pretty close. I think the Netherlands had 14, like you said, and Mexico only had 12. Um, so it wasn't really convincing, and I think they started off the tournament so well against Spain, and partly because maybe they were motivated after that their last loss in the finals against the Spanish. So maybe that's why they did so well against that, and maybe they lost motivation and felt like they could go in and easily beat Mexico. But Mexico played really well. I think hats off to them. I was surprised of how well they played. That being said, I think the Netherlands will win against Costa Rica, but after that, it's anyone's game.
In the previous podcast, I criticized Wesley Snyder for having a subpar tournament, and he still didn't look that good against Mexico, but what a rocket. I mean, he hit that ball perfectly. And that's all he needed. That's all Louis van Gaal had him in the game for. Just one of those veteran guys who can come up with the big play, and he just smashed it into the net. Guillermo Ochoa had no chance. He didn't even know what had hit him. And
Tim Howard would have saved that.
probably, maybe. Looking at this matchup, I love Costa Rica and what they've done. They are the Cinderella team of the tournament. They've proven they're for real, winning 3 out of the 4 matchups and drawing the other one. But to me, this is the easiest game to pick. I think the Netherlands are gonna dominate this game. Costa Rica, after 120 minutes, the red card, the penalty kicks, both physically and mentally exhausted. The Dutch luckily avoided going to overtime. The Robin, the soft penalty, doesn't matter. They won the game. I think Netherlands is going to be too much for Costa Rica to handle. But let's give some props to Louis van Gaal. How many coaches would have done a straight substitution? Robin van Persie coming out for Klaas-Jan Huntelaar. I don't think any other manager would have taken out Van Persie at that point. They probably would have just paired up Huntelaar with somebody up front. But Huntelaar was the one who headed the ball down for Schneider to take the shot. He's the one who calmly smashed the penalty into the corner of the net. Fantastic tournament so far for Louis van Gaal and the Dutch.
Yeah, definitely. I feel that everybody's saying this has been the tournament of the goalkeepers. It's definitely been a tournament for the coaches as well. Chile's coach, Louis van Gaal and others have done, pretty well, much better than a lot of people would expect. The Netherlands, to me, even with their squeaker, just getting past Mexico, some would say with some luck, some would say with the help of referees. I don't really care because they got past. Even though they did squeak by Mexico, they're still, to me, the informed European team. They finished strong, they got the win, and they've kind of consistently, dominated teams that people thought were very capable, and they have the quality to definitely see off a side like Costa Rica, and they definitely have the the team chemistry required to do so, and Costa Rica are really, really going to be in for it. I do think though, that Costa Rica have done, absolutely well to, fantastically to get to where they are. And I want to say that in the last game against Greece, Joel Campbell was fantastic, even though he was absolutely dead tired. I think it was probably past the 85th or 90th minute. He was still, going up for aerial duels, even though he was losing them all. And when he could get the ball
Yeah.
down at his feet, even when he could get the ball down at his feet, he was looking to hold it up and get it off to people. He was working his butt off, and he still had, the composure to put away his penalty. So yeah, big props to Costa Rica. I can only imagine what it's like to be a fan of this team, or even a Costa Rican, person right now. This would be a very fun ride to be going on. And I think that kind of brings us to the end of the podcast. We have a few things like that we can discuss. For instance, how about this? We'll just go around and see who's your best player of the tournament so far. Anybody want to go first?
I'll take a lead on that. I
All
just
right.
think easily based statistically, it's James Rodriguez. If I'm not mistaken, 5 goals and 4 assists.
Yeah, something
Is
like
that
that.
correct? Yeah, just insane, just insane. But there's still a lot of at least 3 games left to be played for the winner. I don't think they can give the golden. They can, but they won't give the golden ball to someone who doesn't make the semis because that means they get at least 7 games, which is the maximum. Um, I still think it'll come down to Neymar, Robin, or Messi. And I would list it as Rodriguez obviously being the best player so far, followed by Messi and then Robin or Neymar. But I don't think there's any question up to this point, the quarterfinals, that James Rodriguez has been the best player. He actually ended up being the most searched for footballer of the entire tournament. I don't know if you guys saw that on Yahoo or Google,
That's
but
crazy.
everyone's looking this guy up.
Yeah, no, he's been really he's been really great. One thing I wanted to note was that the second Colombian goal was absolutely nuts. It was a really, really, really good team goal, and all the way up to the cross to Cuadrado and how he knocked it back across goal for Rodriguez to tap in. Honestly, this Colombian team are really, really, really great. Ravneet, who's your best player?
Yeah, I would have to agree. I would say Rodriguez, but if not, yeah, if not him, I would probably say Messi. He saved them so many times in this tournament, and then Neymar also has saved Brazil a lot of times. Thomas Mueller would probably be second though after Rodriguez, just because I think he has 4 goals, 2 assists, and he's been the best German player in my opinion. So I would say Rodriguez, Mueller, and then a toss-up between Messi and Neymar, with probably giving the edge to Messi.
Yeah, Anha, do you have a player for us?
Um, Last podcast I said Messi. I think it's very hard to argue against Rodriguez. Uh, the players that we're talking about right now, Neymar, Messi, Robin, and Rodriguez, they're not just quality players, but they are the players without which their individual teams would not have been at this stage. Um, I don't know who to single out. It's probably gonna be eventually the person who takes his team to the finals and probably wins it, who we can call the best player of the tournament.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really coming down to that. I think that if Colombia are able to make the semifinals and put in a really good showing, James Rodriguez will probably take it. Um, I don't even think it would be such a miraculous thing for James Rodriguez or for Colombia to beat Brazil. It's one of those things. Like this tournament has been absolutely crazy from start to finish, really. And I mean, in the group stages, you have Spain not even making it out. You have Costa Rica making it to the quarters. The U.S., doing very well to escape a group that, to be honest, I still don't believe they had any business escaping. And yeah, I know it's been a great tournament. For me, my player of the tournament is definitely James Rodriguez. Although, just to be for the sake of being fun and not having 4 Rodriguez's, I will go out on a limb and say that my player of the tournament's probably going to be. Oh man, how far can I go?
You can't go further than Neymar.
Yeah, I can't go further than Neymar. There are boundaries. There are
There are
boundaries.
boundaries.
What about that
You,
one
Yeah, no.
Ronaldo guy?
No, I was actually gonna say Iniesta.
hey, Tim Cahill.
No. How
Oh,
about
the
this?
tournament. We'll talk about that in a future podcast. But
Yeah, no. There are a few players whose stock has risen, just ridiculous amounts over this World Cup. James Rodriguez, his stock was pretty high pre-World Cup, but it's pretty meteoric right now. I would even go so far to say Cuadrado from Colombia. His stock has risen immensely. Um, he's one of those players from Fiorentina that people have been talking about moving, and I didn't actually. I mean, who watches the Serie A unless you're like actually Italian? Um, I always told myself I should sit down and catch a couple Fiorentina matches, but I never would, and now I see what I've been missing because this guy's really good. So I'll go out on a limb and say that Cuadrado is my player of the tournament. That isn't one of the top picks for player of the tournament just because. I mean, it's kind of boring when we're all sitting around saying James Rodriguez.
yeah, no, I agree. Quadrado's been fantastic.
How
Yeah,
about what's his name? Man, it just slipped my mind. Eden Hazard. How
that's
about
funny.
Eden Hazard?
No.
Where would you? No, I know, no, but where would you put him? How do you think his stock has gone up or down, or where has?
Um,
Stay the
I would
same.
just say that it's kind of the same. The whole stock of the Belgian team hasn't really moved all that much. The only Belgian player that I think has been pretty good would probably be De Bruyne. But
Yeah.
aside from him, I mean, can you really think of a standout? Vertonghen's been all right, yeah. But beyond that,
Lukaku for the impact he had in the last game,
but
maybe.
where was he in the first three though?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's save this discussion for another day. Let's do some quick picks to basically seal out the quarterfinals here, and then we'll sign off for tonight. All right, I'm gonna just how about this? I'm gonna list the game, and then you guys tell me your pick. France and Germany.
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 I'm gonna say France just because they're playing better right now, but the German team is probably favorites.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Germany, but if France decide to counter, they have a chance. Brazil and Colombia.
Brazil.
Colombia.
Brazil.
I'm gonna say Colombia. All right,
Ooh.
Argentina and Belgium.
Argentina.
Definitely Argentina.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, this is my Messi fanboyness coming out, but definitely
Yeah.
Argentina. All right, Netherlands and Costa Rica.
Orange Crush.
The Dutch.
Yeah, Netherlands.
Yeah, okay, the Flying Oranges.
Come on.
Okay.
I went with
Come
all the
on,
chalk.
team.
I'm the guy who went with all the chalk picks. I'll but I really
Yeah, you should.
yeah.
You should apply for a job at ESPN. Sit you next to Lawless. Lawless looks at FIFA ratings to decide who's going to win a game. All right, you guys.
If we diss ESPN, is there a chance we can get sued?
I think there's a chance. I think there's a stronger chance we'll get noticed than sued. So.
Okay,
But
then I'm gonna say kill the clock greater than ESPN.
It's the truth, and they know it. They just won't admit it.
I know.
All right, you guys. Let's sign out of here.
All right, it's been fun.
Alright,
See
Have a great.
you after the quarters.
see ya.
I'll see you.